Peace, peace. Queen Episode here to align those chakras. Today I wanted to talk a little quick, brief explanation. Just a little bit. A little perspective. You don't have to agree. You can disagree if you need to. But I wanted to talk a little bit about consciousness. We tend to categorize a lot of things. We tend to make our own decisions, and this is just my opinion. This is just my understanding from what I've learned, what I've self-taught myself, because I teach myself a lot. I try to communicate with my guides as much as I possibly can, because I feel like that's the best authentic way to download information and to really get a clear understanding, and not something based on another human being. Because yes, we do share a collective consciousness, so yes, we are getting the same information, but sometimes the information we get has a little twist to it due to it being passed down by someone else. Someone else's interpretation may not work for you. The ideology may work for everyone, but how we understand it works differently based on each individual. So, a little view of where I am right now on the roof. I've been very ungrounded this past couple of weeks. I have a lot of changes going on with my life, and it takes a big toll on you when you're sensitive to energy and you're sensitive to the different changes going on, because a lot of my big changes usually come with the moon cycles, with the new moon and full moon. Ever since I've gotten myself in alignment with that, things have been a lot better. Things have been a lot more creative and understanding. I've been understanding a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects of life, and just understanding just so much. And I really want to have these clouds behind me because it's beautiful. But yeah, so it's just been so much going on with me, and this new moon in Cancer has been busting my butt, literally tearing my ass up, because I'm a sun in Leo, but my moon is in Cancer, so I have fixed alignment with the sun. The sun's zodiac is Leo, and the moon's zodiac is Cancer. So Cancer is a water sign, so you can imagine what is happening to my emotions right now. I'm erasing and releasing a lot of old womb traumas. So for females, if you're experiencing womb pains and stuff like that, of course, still go checked out at the doctor. We still have to balance our lives. We can't be all metaphysical all the time. We do have to set back and go back to modern medicine sometimes. We still have to keep that balance. Our ancestors didn't have a lot of different things that we have now. Although, yes, they ate better, so they didn't deal with as much complications as we deal with now, but they still had complications. They still had things their body went through. So please, don't get too wrapped up in the natural stuff. If you got to go to the doctor, prevent something, please go get checked out. But again, it's a lot of womb stuff going on right now. For the past couple months, actually, a lot of throat chakra work, because we're learning how to combine our heart space to the upper and lower chakras. We have to have that combination. The heart chakra is what combines the upper and the lower, so above, so below. So I'm going to take a real quick bite of this. Since speaking of the heart chakra, the colors you eat feeds the chakras you need to work on. But yeah, so this moon has been really crazy, and I've been having so much womb pains and a lot of complications with how tense or loose my throat chakra feels, my throat space. So getting back on point, sorry. This pear is so good. This pear is alkaline, by the way. Make sure you guys follow the alkaline diet. Even if you can't completely change your diet, at least trying to put in an alkaline food list into your diet would really help your body get out of the acidic place that it is. Eating the way that we eat very disgusting. And at least if you still eat meat, please at least try to incorporate more alkaline foods into your diet. Make sure you're buying organic. Try your best to make sure that you're getting clean food, because it's very important. These things can block our chakras. It can block things in our lives because our energy is important. Our energy can manifest and create things into our lives. But back into the subject. So, about consciousness. My understanding of Christ and Jesus, or whatever you believe in, it's about a consciousness and not necessarily the person. We all have access to Christ consciousness, and what Christ consciousness is the highest form of consciousness. It's the highest form of understanding and maturity emotionally and on an information level. Christ consciousness is what allowed, if you believe in Jesus or if you believe Horus was Jesus, however you look at it, this is how they obtained things the way they did. This is how they actually walked across water. This is how they healed people, because Christ consciousness is literally allness. It is union between all. I have partially experienced Christ consciousness because I was very, very into it, and from my understanding, Christ consciousness is represented by the number 333. 333. So if you see threes a lot, you're most likely being called to Christ consciousness. But yeah, so what I experienced was I felt the earth completely. I felt the circular earth. I felt it as a sphere spinning very fastly. So much that I almost got dizzy because I started realizing, how fast we're spinning. And what I also felt was the moon. I felt its placement. I felt the beautiful energy that it was giving us. I felt the way it controlled the water. I felt so much. And then I felt the universe. I'm not going to say I had all the answers in that moment, but I had a very big, complete understanding for my path. I understand so much. I understand unity and collectiveness on a whole nother scale, which is what I think changed me so much, because honestly, I had this experience before I really actually tuned into my empath abilities, before I really intuned myself into my psychic abilities, my clairvoyancy, and the clairsenses and stuff. I had this experience before that. This is around the time I had just kind of moved into this apartment that I'm in now. I've probably been like a couple months in or a year at this time. And I just felt so connected to everything. I felt everything. I felt the earth as a whole. And it was just so beautiful. I felt light as ever. I was so light on my feet, on my body. I almost felt like if I had just gone a little further, I could float. I could almost fly if I had the chance. Now, speaking into the terms of Christ consciousness, now we have to understand, so then what does that make Satan? From my understanding, from what I was able to comprehend, Satan consciousness is a consciousness. It's not necessarily a person. Again, these consciousness still are something that a person can completely absorb and become a representation of that and live through that. So this is where I guess people would try to say, they're overtaken by Satan or the devil or whatever. But what Satan consciousness is, it's the ego, it's the shadow side, it's the opposite side of the Christ. So this is not necessarily a bad thing. We need that balance. In the yin and yang symbol, there's always that little piece of darkness in the light. And there's always a little bit of light in the darkness, so everything is necessary in everything. Everything is present in everything. It's just about which wolf you feed more. If you've ever heard that saying, it's really about if you feed your consciousness or your ego more. And, sometimes that Satan consciousness has to come in and remind you, this is this is how you're living your life at the moment. So this is just a little brief explanation about my understanding of Christ consciousness and Satan consciousness and how we cannot limit ourselves to someone else's belief. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm not saying that this is the right way to understand this, but I'm saying this is what I connect to, and maybe some of you guys can connect to that as well. So again, just be a little more open-minded is all I ask, because you start feeling really upset with yourself and off balance when you fight a lot of things. You don't have to agree with everything, but you can at least download something from it. It's always great to download something. It's always great to learn something from something. And again, I could be wrong, but this is just my ideology, my understanding. So with that being said, I hope you guys can have some answers or some sort of connection to this. If you don't, I'm still open to the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's conversate about it. And yeah. Have a good one, guys.